Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 56. So, 56 episodes in is a very good achievement on the channel, and look, tonight I'll be proudly announcing that we've got a special guest on the channel, and actually making his first appearance on the channel this year as well, and that's our Warriors NRL Fanatics. So, bro, good to have you on the channel, and how you been? And big game tomorrow for your boys, for the Warriors.
Yeah, it's actually good to be on your channel for the very first time this year, which it's hard to believe. We're in April now, haven't been on yet. So it's good to be on tonight. And it was a good weekend of footy, and obviously got some more footy tomorrow with the Anzac Day clashes, which I'm really looking forward to. Especially my boys take on the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne, which is no bigger test than playing the Storm up there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not like last year, and we can see a bit more of a competitive game, and hopefully my boys get up. So it's great to be back on. Great to be on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, bro, no doubt about it. And I think that Warriors and Storm game will be a tight one, I reckon. I think this is the first time in a while that it'll actually be a close game. So hopefully that happens, and hopefully Warriors push the Storm tomorrow. And as always, the regular co-host All Out section. How have you been? And look, before I start asking that, yesterday was obviously a bit. It was a close game, but look, 0-7, bro. I don't know. It's not good, is it?
Well, look, I watched last night's game, and that was heartbreaking to say the least. But other than that, I've had a good week. Been trying to battle off. I'm pretty sure I'm coming down with a flu or something, so it's kind of been pretty shitty. But other than that, I'm excited to do the podcast, and welcome to the Fanatics for jumping on the podcast. And guys, we've got some great topics coming in. All right, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, no, that's it. Well said. And it was another pretty big week of footy. Obviously, we've got 2 games tomorrow. But so far, from what we've seen, it's actually been an interesting round. I think it's been some high quality games, and which we'll touch into a second about how we thought of round 8 so far. So we'll touch into that in a minute. But just going to go through the live chat to see who's turning up tonight. And it's not a bad audience, I don't think. So we've got CJ Moxley here. We've got Jacko here in the chat. Hello, Jacko here. Hello, SS Storm fan. Hello, Josh Rabbitohs 2023. Aaron Marnie. And it's a good build-up, actually. Seems to be a few loyal subscribers of the YouTube channel appearing tonight. So it's good. It's good to see. And Jacko here says, "Smile, Enzo. You've got 2 points, 2 comp points." Yeah, well, it's scrappy, but I'll take it. Of course, I'll take any win at this point. But thank you all for tuning in. It should be a good show tonight, and get ready for it. It's gonna be a good one. But all right. We will touch into how we think of the round so far. So just give our quick sort of review, I guess, on how we made of round 8. It's a bit hard, I guess, as there's still some games to go for tomorrow. But as of what you've seen so far, what's your honest thoughts about the round? So I'll start with you first, Warriors NRL Fanatics. What's your thoughts on the games that we've seen so far across round 8?
Look, I thought it was a pretty good round so far. A few very good games. Obviously, that Penrith Panthers versus Rabbitohs game I thought was a cracking game. I thought that was pretty much the game of the round. And then we saw some comebacks as well with the Dolphins coming from behind to beat the Titans down there at Suncorp Stadium, which was a crazy finish. You would think that the Titans would go and win that with the lead they had, but the Dolphins just came back into it and they stormed home. So, I thought it was a great round so far. I thought some good games overall. I thought the quality was good, and I enjoyed it actually. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow's games as well.
Yeah, well said. And that comeback game with the Titans and Dolphins game. Obviously, I didn't get to watch it as I was at Campbelltown for the Manly Tigers game, but I was watching the highlights today actually during the day, and wow, how Titans bottled a 26-0 lead, I'll never know. That's embarrassing, but I guess it doesn't surprise me as the Titans have bombed the lead like that. So, but fair credit to the Dolphins there. That's a win, I guess I'll take, and a very memorable one. So that was good. And Champa, what's your thoughts on round 8 so far? Apart from, I guess, another Tigers loss, what have you made about the round?
Well, I thought it was a pretty entertaining round of footy. The South Panthers match, that was that was a very good game. And Dolphins coming back against the Titans, I thought that was I thought how the Titans can flump a lead like that. I don't know how.
Embarrassing.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure just all around the park, Sharks, Bulldogs, Sharkies were just too good for the Dogs. Even Brisbane too good for power. And we still got 2 more games to come up with the two traditional ends that game. So I think this has been a pretty entertaining round of footy.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I have to agree. I think it's been an all right round of footy, I think, so far. I think the first game was the perfect way to kick off the Anzac round with Panthers and Rabbitohs bailing it out in a very close game. I thought there was a time where Panthers could have held on and won that game. And, often the Panthers wouldn't lose a game like that from being in front with a couple of minutes to go. But obviously South did well enough to fight in and stay in it and win. So that was full credit to South for that win there. And I guess the game was on Friday, which was I think one, by the way. It was Broncos was good. Saturday it was just a bit of a bloodbath, I guess, with the first one of Sharks and Dogs, and then Cowboys were lucky to beat the Knights. And then Sunday was just the incredible comeback by the Dolphins and Manly just pipping the Tigers. But before I continue, in the live chat, Mr. Lachlan has donated $2 to the channel. So, Mr. Lachlan, good to see you back again, and thank you for the $2 donation. I appreciate it. He says next year Panthers should host the Warriors in Samoa. That's an interesting take. Like Fanatics, I don't know. As a Warriors fan, what do you think about that? That's an interesting take there.
That's a very interesting comment actually by Mr. Lachlan there. So, I don't know. I think it wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, but obviously, I'd love to see a few more games hosted in New Zealand. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if a game in general was ever to be hosted in Samoa, I'd back it because it brings good promotion, I guess, to the fans and I guess the support over there. So I wouldn't be against it, I guess. But thank you again, Mr. Lachlan. But like I said, 2 games tomorrow, and that will determine, I guess, how good the round does end, I think. So hopefully the 2 games live up to expectation tomorrow. Now on to our player of the round for round 8. And seriously, tomorrow, you never know. Like, it maybe a player of the round could be from tomorrow. Who knows? But based on what you've seen so far and based on, like, what players have stood out during this round, what's one player that you reckon deserves player of the week? So I'll start with you first, Champa. What's your round 8 player of the round?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to choose from, eh? I thought Will Kennedy had a pretty good smashing performance for the Sharks. But if I had to choose one person, I might have to go Latrell Mitchell from South. Just a lot of South players lately, but they just playing so good. And Latrell Mitchell in that match against the Panthers, I thought he was, he was quiet at the start, but he picked up during the end, and I think that second half is when he really came out to play, and I think it's enough to give him player of the round. So he's my player of the round, Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah, I like that actually. And Fanatics, who's your player of the round so far for round 8?
Well, there's quite a few to choose from actually, but I'm going to actually go with Payne Haas. Payne Haas has been in great form this year. He's one of the best forwards in the game. So I've got to go with Payne Haas because, another very strong performance by him with the Broncos getting up over the Parramatta Eels there. So, Payne Haas for me. Yeah,
good call. And, Haas was fantastic on Friday. I think he is further establishing why he's one of the best front rowers in the game, if not the best front rower. So, Payne Haas is a weapon out there. As for me, I think it was close between a couple of players, but seeing how Will Kennedy went against the Bulldogs on Saturday, I think that's enough for me to pick him as my player of the round so far. So I'll go Will Kennedy as my player of the round after his hat-trick. And, basically he slaughtered the Dogs left, right and centre. So I think Will Kennedy is my player of the round for round 8. But looking in the live chat, Latrell Mitchell's class. Rather Samoa than Vegas. Yeah, fair enough. We'll talk about the whole Vegas thing actually soon, about how the NRL wants to take some sort of talk into having a game there. So we'll talk about that later. But as of right now, we will start going to the topics. So 1 to 5. So the very first topic is about a young Bulldog superstar re-signing with the club until the end of 2027. That's Jacob Preston, and fair play to Preston. Actually, first I'll say, he's been actually not a bad, I guess, addition to the Dogs team this year. Very young, but seems to be a hard worker. Reminds you of a young Josh Jackson. He has a high work rate, I reckon, about him. So this deal for me works out really well. But Fanatics, what do you think about the re-signing of Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs? Was it good, or was it I guess a bit too long, this re-signing?
Yeah, look, I reckon it's a good move. I mean, you can't argue with his form this year for the Dogs. He's a very young player, and I think he's the future of the club. So, yeah, I reckon it's a great move. It's a very good move by the Bulldogs to keep him for to the end of 2027, as it says there on the screen there. So, yeah, I think it's a great move.
Yeah, 100%. And Champa, was this the right call by the Bulldogs to re-sign Preston long term until 2027?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic signing for Bulldogs to extend Jacob Preston, because honestly, he's on his track on being Rookie of the Year. He has been so good for the Bulldogs. He's really, even with the Bulldogs, losing some of their top forwards, he's really stepped up as a player, and really, he's been a try scoring machine for the Bulldogs ever since his debut. I'm pretty sure was it against the Storm. I could be wrong, but
Manly.
Yeah, but ever since that game, he's just been on fire. And look, he's got a bright future, not only in the Bulldogs, but in the NRL in general. I can see him making some rep appearances in the near future. And I think if the Dogs have fair income, they'd extend Jacob Preston and really build the forward pack around players like him. So yeah, I really am a fan of this re-signing. And it's the Bulldogs doing something smart.
Yeah, it's smart work by Gus and the club to look at locking in talent like Preston. So I think it's a good call as well. I think, and obviously Preston was a Belrose Eagle junior, so that means he was part of the Northern Beaches districts growing up. So we could have actually had him if we had kept him in our junior systems, but you can't keep them all, I guess. But Preston is a very, very good young player. I think this is the right call by the Bulldogs to keep him long term. I think that edge of Preston and Alamotti will get better over time. I think them two are going to be the future for the Dogs going forward. And once those two click, as they're very young still, it'll be a freakish combination, I reckon. So, but in general, this re-signing is a great call by the club. So I back it 110%. On to the second topic now, and this one is a tough one to put a finger on, I guess, because Sam Walker is such a good player for the Roosters, a great halfback. And look, he's very young still, so obviously it'll take time for him to reach his full potential, I guess. But the Roosters did drop him last week, and played reserve grade this week, and it's a tough one because you think he's their future and everything, but Champa, what's your thoughts on this one? Was it a right or wrong call with Robinson dropping Walker to reserve grade?
Well, we need to keep in mind Sam Walker's a fairly young player. He's about only I'm pretty sure 20 years old, 20 around that age. So I think maybe just a step back from first grade footy and but probably take things at a much more slower pace will probably help him gel out as a player. Because I've always had this thing about rushing younger kids into the spotlight. And I feel like players like Jacob Arthur Jacob Arthur is a perfect example of someone getting rushed to the spotlight way too quickly, and needed to take some time back and really elevate their game. And I'm not saying Sam Walker is in a similar situation as Jacob Arthur was. Totally opposite, Sam Walker has really molded well into first grade, but that doesn't mean he's molded perfectly. There is a lot of flaws, and that Sharks game really exposed of just some of the flaws that Sam Walker really has in his game. And I do think that he's not at a point where in his career that his bad form is gonna stop any club from signing him. Again, he's 20 years old. He still has a huge future. I see this guy representing Queensland, representing Australia. I see this in his future, but I think maybe just a step back from first grade and really just take time to improve his game is what's needed. Because having a player in bad form consistently in first grade is not going to help him. He's not going to help improve their game. Yeah, I know that from experience. Luke Brooks. So yeah, I think second grade is the perfect option for him.
Yeah, I agree. That's well said actually, because I think while he does have a big future in the NRL, I think you got to be careful and show some caution with the younger players out there. So I think it's in somewhat way it's a good call, I reckon. But we'll see what happens next week. Next week if he gets named at all. But Nadix, what's your thoughts on this one? Do you think the Roosters have made a correct call in dropping Sam Walker to reserve grade, or do you think they've sort of went the wrong way about this and dropping him to reserve grade? What's your thoughts?
Look, I was actually surprised by this. I was surprised when they made this call because personally, I don't think he's been playing that badly. He's a very young player, he's talented player himself. So, yeah, I didn't think he deserved to be dropped. In my opinion, I thought he could have at least played again this week, but it's hard to really say whether it's the correct call or not because, he's only been dropped for one game so far, so it's really hard to say.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess what I will say is that Sam Walker hasn't had the best starts this season. I think he has been a bit lost in some games, like the Storm game at Amy Park during Good Friday or whatever it was. He obviously had a tough game there. And the Sharks game was obviously another example of why he probably needs to readjust his game a little bit, I guess. And that's probably another reason why Cooper Cronk worked so hard in Sam Walker at training is to get him playing, I guess, consistent footy and trying to find his best game. But maybe what the issue is there is that Sam Walker is a completely different player to what Cooper Cronk is, because I think Cooper Cronk's a very structured type player and person, whereas Sam Walker is a bit more of a razzle-dazzle player that plays at the back of his mind, if you get what I mean. So I think that's maybe where there's conflict between them two, but it's not a major issue. It's just a little bit of a learning curve, I guess. And once Sam Walker comes back to first grade, I'm sure he'll be a bit more ready to go, and we'll start playing some of the footy we know he can play. So I don't see any dramas in this personally. I think Robinson's doing his best job to present these young players and give them the time they need in reserve grade before they come back to first grade. So I think it's a good call, I reckon. But I guess the negative is this could end up like another Kyle Flanagan situation if it doesn't work. Because if Sam Walker comes back to first grade and doesn't fire again, the Roosters might try and find a way to force him out of the club. Like they might try and move him on. Try and talk his way out of leaving the club, which would be very, very sad if that's the case. Because I don't think Sam Walker deserves that treatment. Neither did Kyle Flanagan back then either. So look, hopefully history doesn't repeat itself. But I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. But I will just ask you both this very quickly. Do you think Joseph Manu should go to the halves full time? Like obviously Manu's great centre and all, but do you reckon him in the halves is a long-term plan? Like I've just been wondering, do you think he should go there at all?
Nah, I reckon he's long-term. I reckon that they're gonna keep him in centre, and then when Teddy goes, I reckon he's their next fullback. In my opinion, I reckon because Manu killed in. I still can get over his performance for New Zealand back in the World Cup, and I think Manu's long-term position is probably going to be fullback instead of 6.
Yeah, fair call. And Fanatics, what's your thoughts? Do you think he's a half or not?
No, I mean I've always said it. If he's in the side, he's either centre or he's a fullback. So yeah, and I'd stand by it. I don't believe he's a long-term half. I think he's either a fullback or he's a centre. So that's probably where I would have him.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I think he's the out-and-out centre, but at fullback he does a great job there too. So obviously we'll see what Roosters do with Sam Walker though. So it'll be interesting. All right, on to a very big topic now, and this is obviously very close to Fanatics' heart here because it's his club, and obviously seeing the news break on Thursday, I think it was, that RTS's return to the NRL was mind-blowing because I won't lie, when I first saw the news that RTS was about to come back to the game, I thought this was just some sort of muck-up meme or some sort of joke. Like, I didn't believe it at first. I thought this was just like one of those other type of joke things, but No, it's legit. He's coming back to the game. He's coming back on a 1-3 deal with the Warriors until the end of 2026. So that actually marks 10 years since he joined the Warriors as well, because he joined the club in 2016. So it's a very interesting move here. Like I don't mind it, but it's interesting. I guess. Fanatics, as a Warriors fan, what's your overall thoughts on this one? Do you support the move of RTS coming back to the club, or do you think that they should have maybe gone in a different direction? Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I mean, I was actually surprised, actually, and it was more of a rumor last week. It was in the afternoon, and I saw people report it, and I thought it was more of just a rumor. I wasn't too sure whether to believe it or not. And then Roger posted on his Instagram, his official Instagram, that he's coming back to the Warriors in 2024, and then the Warriors released a media release on their website. So, look, for me, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's great, but obviously, you know, CNK's been playing well this year as well, and he's been going great in the fullback spot. So I sort of had those feelings of mixed views. You know, I was happy Rogers came back, but also had that feeling of what about CNK? Because CNK came back to the club to play fullback, but now he is going to have to play a different position, or he won't be in the side. So, you know, that's the big thing for me. But Roger, what he brings to the side is leadership, obviously, and he's a great role model for the game. And those younger players in the side at the moment will probably learn a lot off Roger, especially.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of experience, and all those younger players, I'm sure they've looked up to Roger. You know, now getting that opportunity to play with him, or at least be taught by him, is a great, you know, experience for those younger players. So I think it's great. You know, he's back at the club. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year as well, especially when he's at the Warriors. So yeah, I reckon it's good.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean there. I think it's going to be a good pickup. I guess it's a bit hard on where you play Nickel Cloxton now, because I think he's done a great job at fullback this year. So I guess what Webster does will be interesting by them, but it's a long way to go until 2024. So I guess we'll find out by next year what happens, I guess. But Champa, what's your thoughts on this one? It was a shock, wasn't it, when we saw that he was announced to come back to the NRL and the Warriors? Do you like the move, or do you think it shouldn't have happened?
Look, I'll be honest. I've always been a big time ITS fan. I've always loved his style of play. You know, he truly is one of the just most exciting, most really just the most eye-catching players that we've seen in the NRL in a long time. Like, honestly, his steps, you look when he steps, you think to yourself, what? How did he get through that? Or how did he pull off that? He really is one of those players. And, you know, seeing him leave the NRL, it felt like, you know, at the time, it felt like a huge hole was left in the NRL, because he just brought so much excitement to the younger fans, to the Warriors fans, and to fans who just love just exciting footy. RTS was that man, and to see him back in the NRL, I honestly can't wait. But I do understand the side of, you know, Chance. You know, he came to the side wanting to play fullback, and now the signs are looking most likely that he'll have to sacrifice that position for Roger. Now, where Chance goes, whether it's honestly, I'd have him in the wing, but whether he goes center or any other position is up to the Warriors. But I think it's great to see RTS back, and I really think it's it's an amazing move for the Warriors to sign him back to the club, because the Warriors are on the rise. I'll be honest right now. I've bagged the Warriors. Yeah. You know, I put them in my bottom four when it came to ladder predictions, but they're making me eat my words. I'll admit it right now, and you know, I reckon they are on the rise, and signing a player like RTS is only just going to boost their attack way more. And I'm really excited to see what the future lies for not only Roger but for the Warriors. So yeah, this is a very good move.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, look, it's great for the Warriors. I think having him back there is going to boost a lot of the players, like Fnatic said, like young players, I guess, because they have someone to look up to now, I guess, in that way, as he is a player that a lot of people are a fan of because of the way he steps and the way he plays, and his runs are just very strong. So he's obviously a very fit and talented player. And when he does come back to the Warriors, he will be 31 years old, I think. So he'll be 31, or he'll be 30, turning 31, I think. So look, he's not. That's not old, but it's not like young either. So hopefully, by the time he comes back to the game, he does have that fitness still, and that sort of I guess stamina to play the game on how it is now, as it's a lot quicker. But look, Roger's a class player. We know this. He wouldn't have won the 2018 Dalian Player of the Year award if he wasn't good enough. So he's obviously a very good player, and I think him going back to the Warriors is a great move for himself and the Warriors in general. And yeah, there was talk last year that he wasn't happy over in Union for whatever reason. Like, he's having some issues there. So I think in the back of his mind, I think coming back to the NRL and to the Warriors was probably something he was considering for a long time, but just hasn't found the opportunity to get something done. So now that's done, looking forward to seeing him back. I think he'll be a really good addition to the club.
Do we see? Oh, sorry. I just want to say, do we see RTS back in the New Zealand Kiwis?
I think he'd go close. He'd go close, I reckon, because who's their fullback now? Manu, isn't it? That's their fullback now.
I reckon. Yeah, I reckon if Kiwis are fair dinkum, they'll probably slide him in. They'll find a position for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think just thinking about it, they have Hiku, they have Manu. I think even Holmes can play for them sometimes. So and Rapana too. So I think he'd find a spot somewhere, I reckon, because he's too good to leave out. But we'll see what they do. But yeah, I agree. You got to feel sorry for Nick McClugston. I think he's been, he's in a tough situation now where he wants to play fullback full time. But with RTS coming back, doesn't seem to be he'll play that position much going forward. So he can play in the centres, but I think he's a lot better at fullback. I've always enjoyed his footy at fullback when he was at Raiders. So yeah, I think that's where he should be playing. But it seems like for now, RTS fullback and Nick McClugston centres for 2024. So it'll be interesting to see though what they do.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of comments, people suggesting RTS in that centre position, sort of like a roaming position. Do you guys agree with that, or is fullback still his main position?
I'll let you go first, Nadix.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. I don't think it'd be bad. I mean, I'd probably say I'd prefer him at fullback, but if they could fit him in there in the centres and have C&K on the same side, I mean, I think that'd be awesome. But who knows? I mean, it's up to Webby. You have to see what he does there next year, which it's up to what he does, what he goes with as an option. I'm sure he's got a plan. I'm sure Andrew Webster's got a plan there.
Yeah. So Jackie here's saying in the chat that RTS will be a centre. You heard it here first. So yeah, look, I think there's that talk as well that he might play in the centres. And if he does, I don't hate it, but I think at fullback, you'll get a lot more out of Roger at fullback, I reckon. So if you play him there, you'll get a lot more of a complete player. But at centre, I think you'll get a half decent RTS, in my opinion, anyway. So I don't look. We'll see what they do, like I said, but it's gonna be interesting.
If there's one thing I loved about RTS, it's like finding those holes through tired forwards, and you won't get that in the centre. But you get it in fullback.
Yeah, I just remember when he used to do that all the time at the Warriors, where he'd find that lazy defender and just run straight through. So if you can do that again, that'd be fantastic to see, wouldn't it? All right. On to the fourth topic now. So second last topic. And this one's actually a very controversial one. And I was just wondering whether I should add it in or not, but I decided to do it as this was talked about last week. Should the NRL stop having clubs make Anzac Day jerseys unless you play on the actual day? So I guess, with the whole, markups of some Anzac Day jerseys, like the Tigers one, and obviously some clubs have, copied. I don't see an issue with it personally, but have copied the same Anzac image on the jerseys as clubs have had in the past. So kind of have recycled that same image into their jerseys. But personally, I see no issue in that. Look, it's a tough one, isn't it? This one, because I think playing on Anzac Day, you obviously have a special jersey as it's representing the day it is. But as for the rest of the days and the rest of the teams that do play not on Anzac Day, what do you do there? Do you still continue with an Anzac Day jersey, or do you still just play in your normal kit? I'll start with you first, Champa. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, look, if you make an argument like that, you can sort of really stretch it out and say, well, should we have the ceremonies before the game really just on Anzac Day, or should we just like have the minute silence just on Anzac Day? I don't see a problem with the clubs like having Anzac jerseys, and because it's Anzac round. Like, if you don't want the clubs to not have jerseys, then don't have it as an Anzac round. Don't promote it as an Anzac round. Just promote the Anzac Day clash. Sorry. I just see no issue. I mean, yeah, you run the chance of reusing images, or in the Tigers' case, trying to pull a sneaky one and like have someone who's not an Anzac soldier. Like that was embarrassing, I will admit.
It was.
But I still don't see the issue of of NRL teams having Anzac Day jerseys or Anzac jerseys, because they're representing the Anzacs, and look, we've had some amazing Anzac designs throughout the years. I don't see any reason to scrap it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like obviously, it's, I just see no issue with it. So yeah, I don't see any reason for clubs to stop having Anzac jerseys. And look, it's one of the great things of our game to commemorate and celebrate all the many things that happen within this country, and Anzac's one of them. So look, I think they should keep the Anzac jerseys, because look, it's representing our soldiers. So look, I'm all down for that.
Yeah, no, well said. And Fanatics, do you think that they should only have Anzac Day jerseys on the actual day, or do you think as a round itself, everyone represents an Anzac Day jersey?
Well, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with the fact that the NRL teams are having Anzac jerseys on that in that round in that week. So, I think personally, I think it's great. I think it's great. You're representing the Anzac round especially, and I personally don't mind it. I pretty much don't mind it in general. I think it's great just having those jerseys and representing for the whole week.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, I see no reason why to actually make this move. I don't know how the murmurs or talk started, but I just think that having to, I guess, not have a jersey, even if it's not on the actual day, I still think it's Anzac round for a reason. It represents the week it is of, like Champa said, remembering the soldiers that served both Australia and New Zealand, and you have to show that same respect at the same time, because I think it's still a tradition that should go forward and not change now. And I think if the tradition of having every club wear an Anzac Day jersey stopped, then it would cause issues, I reckon. Like it would. I think there'll be a lot of issues, a lot of backlash because of that. So I think to make everyone happy and to show respect in the best way possible to the soldiers and just the whole concept of Anzac round, everyone wears an Anzac Day jersey, I reckon, no matter on what day it is. Whether it's 2-3 days before, it doesn't matter. Still wear an Anzac Day jersey, still represents the round itself, and I'd be more than happy to persist with that. So, I think all that talk's rubbish in my opinion. So I agree. I think everyone deserves to wear an Anzac Day jersey. All right, on to the fifth and final topic now, and this is one that I did say we will touch into, and look, I don't know. We've heard before, but the game and the Vlandis have spoken to America about having a trial match. Well, all this talk started with Manly and Rabbitohs somewhere in America. I don't know where it was again, but there was talk that they have a trial match between them two in America, because both Manly have what's his name? I've gone blank. He's our biggest fan from Hollywood or something.
Russell Crowe.
Oh, that's for South, but the other
that's the owner. Yeah, that's the owner.
Hugh Jackman, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why they wanted to have a game in America, because they have those two guys representing both clubs. But It's never happened, has it? Like it's never happened. I guess COVID has COVID has obviously interrupted it from happening, but I just think it's not. It shouldn't happen. I don't reckon. But I'll start with you first, Fanatics. What's your thoughts on this one? Do you reckon that they should have a game in America, or do you think it's a stupid idea and just scrap it?
No, I mean, this has been in talks for a long, long time. Once again, it's been brought up again by the NRL. Look, I don't see it happening. Yeah, I don't see it happening at all. It's just talk. It's just talk at the end of the day, and it's never going to happen. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really like the idea, to be honest. I personally don't think they should do it. I think, just play the game around here in Australia or take a game to New Zealand. I think it's more better. I mean, I'll take it to America. I don't. Yeah.
No, it would be. I can see Champ lots of laughing about it. But look, I'd say I'm not a fan of the idea. I just don't think there's much fans in America to make a game possible, and I don't think the idea of having it in America is good. But look, whatever they do, it'd be interesting to see how it does go in America. Because I won't lie, I found the idea of having a game in America interesting, but I don't think it'll work. But Champ, what's your thoughts on this one? Do you reckon they should have a game in America, or just no, don't do it?
You guys are gonna hate me, but I'm a fan of it.
Really?
Let me explain why. I'll explain why I'm a fan of it. I don't think there should be a season game in America. I definitely don't think there should be a season game because it fucks up the whole time zones and like TV broadcasting and shit like that. So not a season game, but I'd say a trial game. I will like it because here's the thing, right? There's a lot of famous people who have some sort of connections towards the NRL. Like you said, Hugh Jackman is a fan of Manly. Russell Crowe is the owner of South Sydney. Some other famous, like the famous singer Kid Leroy, is a South Sydney fan.
Nice.
UFC fighter Tai Tuivasa is a Penrith Panthers fan. Jordan Mailata, former South Sydney junior, who's now playing in the NFL. So there's some sort of connection between America and the NRL, and I think to really open fans' eyes to the game of rugby league and to really expand it, like we always talk about expansion. Take a trial game to up in America, and you just play a trial game. I reckon. Look, the attendance might not be the best, but I reckon with the right marketing and having like the big names like Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe really talking up the game could really bring some attention towards the trial game. Because look, I see potential in this, and look, it could even lead to maybe a World Cup in America. That might seem far-fetched right now, but give it a few years, the right sort of marketing, it could work. So, as for a trial game, I'm all in for it, but not a season game. We'll keep it small, the trial game for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'll be honest. I don't think that the whole idea of having an NRL game in America works because I guess expansion is a big thing today, like you said, but I just think that moving a game to America isn't nearly as worse as the whole promotion idea out to Adelaide or Perth. I don't rate it. I just don't. I guess as a platform because some famous people do know the NRL, like Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal. He works at PointsBet, but is an advocate for Manly and PointsBet. So there's obviously a bit of attraction there, and there's obviously Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman. There's plenty of people out there. But
even Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been in some sort of connections with the NRL before as well.
For Samoa, that's another one. So I don't think it's the worst idea, but I don't back it personally. I think it's just not the idea I'd go with. I think just keep it. Keep trial matches and NRL games just in Australia, not anywhere outside of it. It'd be cool, but and I meant to say that have games in Australia, but in New Zealand as well only. So anywhere in America, I'm not a fan of, to be honest. But
I will say this: if you had to send 2 teams up to America, what 2 teams would you have?
I think you'd have either Manly, Rabbitohs, Storm, or Roosters. I think you gotta have a big club that goes up there first. Even Broncos. I think just because they're big clubs and everything like that. It's the best way to ever promote a game in America. So you've got to do that, I reckon.
Yeah, you don't want to send like a Titans Raiders up there, eh? Because fans will just look. You don't want to send the Tigers up there because the fans will just look and be like, "What the hell is this shit?" and never even watch.
Well, I think the fans in America would be confused because they'd be expecting to see black, orange, and white, but you'd be seeing more white and black there, as there's more Western Southern Magpies fans today than actually Tigers fans. So, I hate to say that, but it's true enough. Yesterday at Campbelltown, I can tell you that there's a lot of Western Southern Magpies fans around still. But yeah, look, I don't know what Flanders does and the NRL does is interesting, but again, I'm not a fan of it, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, look, I think this does bring an end to the podcast for tonight. It was a very good show actually, and I enjoyed this one for episode 56. I'd like to say thank you again to Warriors and NRL Fanatics for coming on as a special guest. I know it was a late call up, but hey, you made an impact tonight, Fanatics, and it was good to have you on, bro. So thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and I thought it was a great podcast, and I enjoyed it, and it's great to be on your channel again.
Yeah, and look, obviously tomorrow Warriors and Storm will be a big game, so hopefully your boys can get up for you in that one because, I mean, who'd like to back Melbourne in that one? Like seriously, come on Warriors in that case. But yeah, should be a good one tomorrow. And Champa, as always, thanks for another podcast, another successful episode. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for having me on as always. Keen for the 2 games tomorrow. Tips are Roosters to win and the Warriors for an upset.
Ooh,
okay.
I wanted to the Warriors, but I'll change, but I have to stay with Melbourne. I have to just stay with them. It's too late to change now, but I'll be back in the Warriors. There's no doubt about that. But look, before I go, I keep noticing this. This York NOCE guy keeps saying, do the run. I don't know what that means, but yeah, there's gonna be no run tonight at 7 o'clock. There's no run at this time of the night. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Please be sure to check out All Out Section's YouTube channel and also Fanatics' channel as well. Both linked in the description down below. So go check them out if you haven't already. And yeah, another successful episode. So cheers for another good episode, and I'll see you for next Monday. Thank you, everyone.
Peace.